We've all been there, right? You're driving along and then, boom, that dreaded check engine light pops on. It's a feeling every car owner knows. But what if I told you that one of the most common codes on a Ford, the P1016, is something you might just be able to tackle yourself? Well, today, we're going to demystify this code and give you the knowledge you need to take control. So, there it is, that little glowing light on your dashboard. Now, it's easy to panic, but really, you should think of it as your car trying to talk to you. It's found a problem in one of its systems, and it's logged a little something called a diagnostic trouble code, or DTC, to tell you exactly what's up. And today, we're going to translate that code and get to the root of the problem. If you've already plugged in a scanner and found the P1016 code, you are way ahead of the game. But hey, don't worry if you haven't, we're going to cover all the bases here. We're not just going to tell you what the code means, we're going to give you a step-by-step guide to actually fixing it. Okay, so here's our game plan. We've laid out a really clear roadmap to help you figure this all out. We'll start by decoding the P1016 code. Then we'll hunt down the usual suspects causing the problem. And finally, we'll arm you with the solutions to get your car back on the road. Sound good? Let's dive in. So what is the deal with this P1016 code anyway? In a nutshell, it's all about your turbocharger. Your car's main computer, the ECU, has spotted a problem with the wastegate system, and that's what's flipping on the check engine light. Let's break down exactly what that means. To really get what P11016 means, you gotta understand the wastegate. Think of it like a relief valve, a sort of bypass for the turbocharger. Its job is to control how much exhaust gas spins the turbine, which is what regulates your boost pressure. So, when that wastegate isn't doing its job right, the pressure can build up way too high. And that's exactly when you get the P11016 code. Now, that check engine light doesn't just pop on for fun. There are really specific triggers, very precise conditions that have to be met before the car's computer will log a fault. So let's look at the two key things that have to happen to trigger a P1016 code. The first trigger is all about pressure. See, the computer is constantly watching the wastegate control pressure. And if it sees a reading that's more than 2.46 psi higher than what it expects to see, well, that's a huge red flag. But here's the thing. A tiny momentary spike in pressure isn't enough to trigger the code. The second trigger is time. That high-pressure reading has to stick around for more than 5 seconds straight. It's kind of like a built-in safety measure to make sure it's not just a false alarm from a minor little hiccup in the system. Okay, so we know the P1016 code is caused by pressure that's too high for too long in the wastegate system. But what's causing that high pressure in the first place? It's time to play detective and investigate the 3 most likely suspects. When it comes to the P1016 code, it almost always boils down to one of these 3 things: a leaky control tube, a leaky vacuum tube, or a bad regulating valve. Each one of these parts is absolutely critical to the wastegate system, and if any one of them fails, you can get the exact pressure problems we've been talking about. Now for the good news. We can actually go through and systematically check and fix each of these potential problems. So in this next part, we're going to walk you through these step-by-step solutions for each of our 3 suspects. First up, we've got the control tube. This little tube is the direct line of communication between the regulating valve and the wastegate actuator. That's the part that physically opens and closes the wastegate. A leak here means a loss of pressure, which can stop the wastegate from opening when it's supposed to. So, how do you check for a leak in the control tube? You've got to do a really thorough visual inspection. Look for any signs of cracking, splitting, any kind of damage. You can even use a smoke machine to help you pinpoint exactly where a leak might be hiding. And if you find a leak, the only real solution is to just replace the tube. All right, our second suspect is the vacuum tube. This tube connects the regulating valve to the vacuum reservoir, which is basically a little tank that stores vacuum pressure for the system. A leak in this tube means a loss of vacuum, and that can stop the regulating valve from working the way it should. If you think you've got a leak in the vacuum tube, honestly, the best thing to do is just replace it. And while you're at it, it's a really good idea to check for other leaks in the vacuum system. Even a tiny leak anywhere else can cause big problems, so it's always best to be thorough. Okay, so what if you've checked both tubes and they look fine? Well, the next suspect on our list is the regulating valve itself. This valve is the brains of the operation, controlling the flow of vacuum to the wastegate actuator. If it's not working right, it can cause the wastegate to totally malfunction. If you've got a bad regulating valve, there's no fixing it. You just have to replace it. And after you install the new one, make absolutely sure to double-check all the connections. You want them tight and secure. This is going to help prevent any future leaks or other problems down the line.
Whew, we have covered a lot of ground. We've decoded the P1016 code, we've investigated the most common culprits, and we've walked through the step-by-step solutions. Now, let's bring it all together and give you a clear, simple roadmap to finally resolving this issue.
Think of this table as your ultimate cheat sheet for diagnosing and fixing this problem. It gives you a super clear overview of the common causes of the P1016 code and exactly what to do about them. Just start with the most likely cause, and if that doesn't fix it, move right on to the next one. Simple as that. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that the P1016 code really isn't as scary as it sounds. With a little bit of knowledge and just a logical approach, you can probably diagnose and fix this issue yourself. And hey, even if you're not comfortable doing the work, you'll be able to have a much smarter conversation with your mechanic. So there you have it. You are now armed with the knowledge to take on that P1016 code. The only question left is, what's your next step? Are you ready to grab your tools and dive in? Or are you going to use this info to have a more productive chat with your mechanic? Either way, you're in a way better position than you were before. Now go out there and get that check engine light turned off.